So today we uncover the sinister Masons and their demonic initiation. Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind those Masonic doors? Well, there is no need to no longer wonder. Let's take a look at the sinister practices of one of the most dangerous societies in the world today. John, if you would, please.
Thanks, True, and yes, we are going right into their deepest and most cherished secret, the initiation. And we ask the question, how does it really work? Know your enemy so you can beat them.
The Freemasons. From the secret handshakes to some pretty profound philosophy, we are going inside the lodge.
So, just imagine this for a second. You're standing outside a locked door, about to take part in a ceremony that's been going on for centuries. You can't see a thing, you're blindfolded, which symbolizes your own ignorance, and there's a rope, they call it a cable tow, looped around your neck. And then, as you step inside, you feel the sharp point of a dagger pressed right against your bare chest. The guard asks you, "Do you feel anything?" Yeah, this is not your average social club meeting. This is the incredibly dramatic, really intense start to the journey of becoming a Freemason.
Okay, so let's get into it. What on earth is actually happening in that room? Well, this is the very first degree of Freemasonry, the initiation of what they call an entered apprentice.
The whole thing is like a carefully choreographed play. The candidate is led to an altar. He kneels, puts his hand on a sacred book, could be a Bible, a Quran, whatever he believes in, and swears his oath. And then you get this pivotal moment. He asks for the light, and bam, the blindfold is whipped off. After that, he's finally entrusted with the secrets of this first degree, the handshake, the password, and his very first symbolic tools. And that oath of secrecy, they take it with deadly seriousness. Now, today the penalties are just symbolic, but the traditional oath, it invokes these incredibly gruesome consequences if you break it. It just goes to show their absolute commitment to their vows.
So, here's the crucial point. With all this focus on keeping secrets, are they some kind of secret society, plotting world domination in the shadows? Well, they make a very, very specific distinction about that.
Masons will be the first to tell you they are not a secret society, but a society with secrets. Their existence isn't hidden at all. You can find Masonic lodges in towns all over the world. The secrecy is all about what happens inside those lodges, the rituals, the symbols, and the knowledge they share with each other.
Their attitude towards prying outsiders is so ingrained, they've even got a special word for it, a cowan. Originally, it meant an uncertified stonemason, but now it's basically anyone trying to learn their mysteries without going through the proper channels.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. There's never been just one single unified version of Freemasonry. It's way more like a huge, sprawling house with tons of different rooms and traditions.
A huge split actually happened back in 18th century England, all thanks to the Enlightenment. You had the moderns, who were influenced by all the new scientific rationalism and wanted to strip away the old rituals to focus on philosophy. But then the ancients pushed back hard, saying, "No way, these mystical traditions are the absolute heart of Freemasonry, and we have to preserve them." And believe it or not, you can still see the legacy of that schism right here in the United States today. The state-level Grand Lodges are split right down the middle. About half are FNAM, or Free and Accepted Masons, that's the Moderns tradition, and the other half are AFNAM, or Ancient, Free, and Accepted Mason. But the complexity doesn't stop there, not even close. After a Mason completes the first 3 foundational degrees, that's in what's called the Blue Lodge, he can choose to pursue higher degrees. This means joining totally separate, independent organizations known as Rites. The 2 most famous are probably the Scottish Rite, with its well-known 33 degrees, and the York Rite, which includes groups like the Knights Templar.
We've all heard of the filthy Scottish Rite. But for those who don't know, that is really an extension. Masonry traditionally has 3 degrees.
Each one offers its own unique path with totally distinct and often very esoteric beliefs and rituals. Which brings us to the core question, right? Beyond all the rituals, the secret words, and the different factions, what is the actual point of Freemasonry?
Well, the answer really has multiple layers. On the surface, sure, it's a social club, a fellowship. The formal definition is a system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols.
But let's be honest, we all know that they are some of the most influential figures in today's society, and they have been linked to many organized criminal activities. They are again a society of secrets and, when needed, lies.
And this is absolutely key. Everything is symbolic. The candidate is blindfolded to represent his own state of ignorance. The stonemason's tools he's given, they aren't for building cathedrals, they're for building his own character.
This is why they're called accepted or speculative Masons, not operative stonemasons who actually worked with stone. But for some, the purpose runs much, much deeper. The really influential 33rd degree Mason and scholar Manly P. Hall, he described it as two organizations in one. You've got an outer fraternity for fellowship and charity, and then a secret inner brotherhood that's dedicated to a profound secret of secrets. And then you have Albert Pike, who is one of the most powerful American Masons of the 19th century, and he took it even further. He straight up argued that Freemasonry was a direct revival of the ancient mystery schools, a search for light that connected directly to traditions like Kabbalah, Hermeticism, and even alchemy. You see, this deep ambiguity about its ultimate purpose is really rooted in its mysterious origins.
Hold up, John. John, is that Fred and Barney? I know this is off topic, but surely they weren't really Masons.
Afraid to break it to you, true? Technically, they weren't Masons, but they were part of a society. They were part of the Loyal Order of the Buffalo, which was basically a nod to the Masons. Their creators, Hanna-Barbera, were however Freemasons, and they incorporated Masonic iconography in many of their animations. Look, we are getting off topic, but that is certainly another episode, anyway.
The early history of Freemasonry is basically a blank canvas, which has allowed for some truly incredible theories and legends to be painted all over it. Now, while organized modern Freemasonry officially kicked off in London in 1717, its own legends trace its lineage way, way further back. Old Masonic documents claim connections to King Solomon's Temple, a legendary meeting of Masons in 926 AD, and even the Greek mathematician Euclid.
But probably the most enduring, the most popular origin story connects Freemasonry to a very famous order of crusading warrior monks, the Knights Templar.
The idea is that after the Templars were brutally wiped out in the 14th century, the surviving knights went underground. They supposedly used the structure of stonemason guilds as a cover to preserve their secret knowledge. I mean, it's a fantastic story, and while some of the evidence is intriguing, direct historical proof is, well, it's pretty thin. This historical fog also made Freemasonry the perfect target for conspiracies,
including this one dubbed the Tax Hill hoax. Back in the 19th century, Leo Taxhill convinced the world that the Masons were in league with the devil and that many of them were flesh-eating lizards. This was supposedly debunked by Taxhill himself as a hoax, but some say he was threatened by the Masons into making a false confession. So true agenda, there you have it. Who are the Freemasons? Well, all you have to do is watch this space. Those scumbag lowlifes can never win as long as we know about them and their tricks.
Well said, Tom. And that leads us nicely into episode 2, where we will be having a look at Leo Taxhill and the whole situation with the so-called hoax. Please join me on Patreon for that episode. It will be, if nothing, informative and insightful. See you there. Google Patreon /The True Agenda.